Okay, well, hi. Good morning. This is Cliff from II Crew England Speaks Out. And as promised, this morning we're going to discuss dangerous abdominal exercises. Firstly, I just want to flag up that if you've got any back injuries, hip injuries, knee injuries, any injuries whatsoever, please go and see a professional expert to get clearance. But you know, it pains me when I see so many people, including professional fitness trainers, advocating sit-ups, abdominal crunches, hanging leg raises, and the like. The reason why they are so dangerous is because you cannot strengthen your spine. I just want you to envisage your spine without any of the muscles or ligaments attached to it. That spine is so precious to us. It is weak and very, very, very easily damaged and injured. I get my information from reputable sources. I learn my information from extremely reputable sources. And Professor Stuart McGill, he is a Canadian spinal biomechanist, which he has been for well over 30 years. He's been an expert witness for spinal injury cases innumerable times. This guy knows his onions. He knows his business. He knows what he's talking about. When he says our spines are akin to a wire coat hanger, he then goes on to say, think of a wire coat hanger. If you bend and flex, bend and flex, bend and flex, bend and flex that wire coat hanger, eventually it's going to snap. You might pick up one wire coat hanger and you might break it within 20 or 30 bends and flexions. You might pick up another wire coat hanger and it might take 100. Basically what he's saying is, he's using analogies here, but basically what he's saying is, your back, our spines, were not intended to repetitively bend and flex in that way. Now, some of you already might be saying, I'm not going to listen to this broadcast anymore. I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, I'm just the same as you. I'm just a general lay person. But I've looked into it quite conclusively, and I've read up on Professor McGill's scientific evidence and others, and I now am of the opinion that what Professor McGill says is correct. right and proper. It really, when you think about it, doesn't take rocket science, does it? When you think about it, our spines aren't meant to be doing that. Neither are we designed to be sat down all day, hunched over a computer, or sat at an office, or sat behind driving a bus or a car or a taxi. Our bodies have not been designed to do that. So what he's saying, Professor McGill, stacks up. So we need to have exercises which is going to find the happy medium between spinal stability and spinal mobility. Spinal stability exercises is of paramount importance. But if we now look at sporting performance, because this is where I just kind of like feel that you're wanting, come on, get to the point, get to the point. Well, I am getting to the point, because we're now going to sort of put all of this into proper context. If we take a sport that I know a little bit about, boxing, you might say, okay, well, boxers always do exercises like sit-ups with a twist, because they want that explosive power. Like if they're throwing a left hook, they want it to be explosive. They want the strength, the power, the explosion in the torso. To the uninformed, they think that doing all the sit-ups with a twist and all the rest of it is the way to get that. What it would do is you will end up with a lumbar lower back injury. Why, you say? Because your pelvis is not moving with the twisting motion. Now, when a boxer throws a left hook, the movement is initiated from the feet. The feet pivot, and that initiates the movement whereby the leg will rotate around via the hips. Okay, it's via the hips. So you're rotating around like imagine a golfer. The golfer's drive, the rotation around. It's in the hips as you rotate around. It is not rotating around at the lumbar region. So why do we prescribe these ridiculous exercises whereby the hips do not move? If in fact, if we're throwing a right cross, if we're orthodox, or if we're throwing a left cross, if we're a southpaw, if we're throwing an uppercut, a right hook if we're a southpaw, a left hook if we're an orthodox, why is it the movement that I've just described? Exactly. Why? It just doesn't make common sense. So, that's all the bad news. Okay? The good news is that we can strengthen and train our abdominal area. Specifically, I'm thinking of this from what I know a little about boxing, okay, but it can be included into everyday life. It can be not some of the exercises that I'm going to say to you, the drills, but you get me. It's the same with if we're playing golf, if we're playing tennis. The rotation movement. The rotation movement is about the hips, at the hips, right? So here's a little routine. It's kind of like difficult to actually describe to you the movements without you actually going and researching it yourself. So what I would ask you to do is get onto YouTube, and I'll tell you the names of the exercises and you can research them for yourself. But the first exercise that I would prescribe would be what is known as a cat-camel. Cat-camel. Go onto YouTube, as I've said, and research it. A cat-camel. Following that, we would do the McGill curl-up. That's McGill, McGill curl-up. Following that, we would do the bird dog. Following that, we would go into a combination move where we would go into side plank bridge, into plank, conventional plank, and then into side plank bridge the other side. So just talking about that, you'd start off, say for example, in right side plank bridge, okay? You'd then, via rolling, rotating about the hips, keeping everything stable, that's the thing, right? You'd roll into the conventional plank and then roll again out of that, keeping everything stable, into the right side plank. Now, the thing with this, right, is you're trying to build endurance in this area, not strength. Okay, so dependent on your fitness levels, you would adjust it to your level of fitness. Okay, there are some quite unique additions that we can bring in using a specific bit of equipment that we've invented, but more on that another time. But you get me, this is, and I can tell you, the McGill curl up, for instance, the way we do it is we lift up. They call it curl up, but it's actually a lift up, and you hold for 7 seconds. Isometrically hold. Now you might be a professional world boxing champion, okay, that's in the prime of their fitness. Now you might very well be able to tense your abdominal area immeasurably harder than what I could. Okay, but that is the essence of the exercise. That you tense those muscles up, that front abdomen up, for all you are worth, for all you can muster with everything you've got, okay? And you will begin to realise and understand the merit of this exercise. Moving it, the cat camel just massages the back. You don't want to go into a full stretch and full flexion on the cat camel. That is just to massage the nerves within the spine, just to wake them up. All right, we're not talking about going into major flexions. The McGill curler, which I've described to you, is an isometric hold. Think of Bruce Lee. That real isometric hold. You then open out the area with bird dog, which when you research it, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then you go into this side plank bridge combination, which you can use our bit of kit, which we'll talk about another time, which will intensify the exercise no end. Right, so you will be having an exercise which will be producing strength, endurance right the way round your torso, okay, which is what you want. All right, you want to be avoiding all this bending and flexing. Yes, when we bend to pick up a pencil, yes, bend to tie up our shoelaces, but think of that analogy, right, of the wire coat hanger. It's only got so many bends. Use them wisely, right? Because once your back goes bang, you know, you could be have some problems. Okay. Going back to boxing now. Boxers say, yeah, but you know that ain't got no bottle. That abdominal routine that you've just recommended. Oh yes, it has. Oh yes, it has. Because if you have given it some on the McGill curl up, and I mean it. I mean, I'm talking about 100% isometric contraction for all you're worth, and you'll know what whether you're cheating. It's up to you whether you're cheating or not. But if you do it for all you're worth, it will be an effective exercise. So we do all those exercises, and then for the boxer, we need to have impact, contact, strength. So if somebody slips and sticks you with a shovel hook up your ribs, you know what I mean? You've got some protection there, some resistance there. So use that routine that I've just talked about, okay? Adapt it to your level of fitness. You might find that you might want to continually do that in a circuit fashion for 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. You might only want to do 6 minutes. Do you know what I mean? You get it, you adapt it to your level of fitness, okay? And then you get the medicine ball, a good old medicine ball. Yeah, I've had some of that. And you get your trusted partner, trainer, coach, whoever, and they drop the medicine ball right onto your guts, onto your stomach, onto your front stomach. And then once that has been done, they complete it with you where they just sort of hammer around with the medicine ball. Boxers know what I'm talking about, right the way across your torso. Okay, so Going back to what I'm talking about, you use that routine which I've talked about as your stability exercises, alright? To get the stability, to shore up your abdominal, your core area. You'd use the medicine ball for impact training, and then you just would incorporate some mobility exercises for the hips so that you've got full mobility within the hips and also the shoulder area. And you try that and you will see how your punching power will increase immeasurably. In any other sport, your performance will increase immeasurably, and if you're just wanting general health and conditioning, this will be immeasurably of benefit to you. So Google those exercises, follow them in the format that I've said, and I hope this has been of interest to you. I'm going to sign off now. This is Cliff from II Crew England Speaks Out. I'm out of here. Ciao.